You can compete now. Oh, it's the NCAA tournament. It's open for everyone. Dude, those doors are shutting. And they're no longer hiding it. They're going to keep leaving some crumbs out. Oh, you want to come play your non-conference game? Here's $1.5 million. Other than that, this system, the way it shifted over the weekend, people are scratching their heads like, what is happening? This is seismic. And I keep using that word because college athletics in the state of New Mexico, college athletics in Albuquerque, this is ours. And this is the thing that we could touch, we could be a part of. So many of you went to New Mexico or New Mexico State. That hits differently than just being a fan of the Green Bay Packers or the Denver Broncos. I get the passion for the NFL, but there is something different about college athletics. And it's changing, but it's not changing for the better. And you should be worried this morning. Because if you look at schools like San Diego State, they have a brand new football stadium. They just played in the college basketball national championship game, and guess what? They got left behind. And we'll talk about a potential merger between the Mountain West and the remaining 4 Pac-12 teams. But this is a time to be worried. And with that, good morning, everyone. Welcome into the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck, DC, joined this morning by Chris Perez, former Lobo basketball player, coach here in Albuquerque. And you've lived this life, Chris. You were a college athlete. The reason you are here is because of the University of New Mexico.
Right.
And you've been in the business. You're working with young athletes now, and we understand the business side of it. But what's it like as a former college athlete watching what has played out in college athletics really the last week and a half?
Yeah, I mean, it's just really everything kind of evolves. But I think with this, it is trying to kind of find a little bit of, okay, we're saying we're doing it for the student athletes, but also money talks as well. So when you look at all the TV deals now we're in a time where, we're streaming everything. So you have to get, a certain streaming app to watch games now. And then we have the NIL deals that we're looking at. So to me, there's just a lot of, we're trying to please everybody, but when you try to please everybody, you end up, pleasing no one. It comes up as chaos. So I think with all this going on, you see a lot of players when they go somewhere. For me, when I came to UNM, coming from California, I do have a lot of family out here in New Mexico. I visit all the time. They would take me to the pit, and I loved it. I loved the atmosphere that the pit gives, and that was my dream of playing here. And then now you're looking at when players do recruit or when they do go to certain schools, they're going there because my family could come to these games in certain regions. And that's usually what you do it for. I mean, if you guys saw this weekend of the Missouri football coach, he talked about, that's a big deal for him is he wants his family to be able to travel with him, and he looks up in the crowd and sees them because that's what he does it for. So there are just so many factors that obviously are not dollar signs. They're not, it's not about how much you can get out of it. It's more of man, what about the experience? So I think with the traveling, it's going to take a big toll on these student athletes of traveling a lot, whether it's a 2-3 game road trip, from West Coast to East Coast. I think that, that's a big toll where they're still going to school. They got, they're going to have to be traveling.
What's that?
Yeah. No, do we factor that in too? So I don't know. It's just kind of it's in the middle ground of, you got high school sports and professional sports. What do you do with college athletes? Because we've been asking, to kind of treat it like pros because of,
and here you go. And exactly. This is that really big push to the consolidation of power. College athletics needed adaptation, not consolidation. And what we're getting with the consolidation of power is they're going to push the others out. And this is what worries me the most, is because the one thing you can hang your hat on, we love basketball. We do. The pit fills up. Last year was phenomenal. The Mountain West can make an impact in basketball with San Diego State. But even so, even with all that being said, they were left out. No one's talking about throwing $50 million at you to put you on TV, and that's what this is about. And I had a lot of people talking to me over the weekend that were sports fans, but not necessarily college fans. They're like, "Oh, what's going on?" And you're trying to explain it, and all you can really say is, it's the biggest television deals are where these schools are going, and the potential of $30 million per year, that was not good enough for the Pac-12. That Apple deal that was on the table, it would be, the reports are, it was a base of $23 million for 5 years if the subscriptions went up. Thus, that contract between Apple and the Pac-12 would rise as well. And that's not good enough. When you have the SEC, Big Ten out there throwing $50 million per year, I get it. You got to chase it. But what we're seeing is now no one hiding. No one telling you we all can compete. Maybe college athletics just got too big and no one noticed. Like, was it ever realistic to say 133 of you, we're going to call you Division I football teams, all playing for the same thing, but 70% of you do not have a chance to ever achieve the highest level of this. Now, in college basketball, it's 300 and some, like 350, 360 Division I teams. And then if you have the NCAA tournament plus the NIT, you're at 90 something in the postseason. You can kind of digest that. It's an opportunity to get in, win your games. We see that. And one of the things, I heard over the weekend too was, hey, just let the dust settle. We've been through this before. Let it settle. But I feel so differently right now than I ever have about college athletics, because I've heard from coaches that aren't just football and basketball coaches that don't know what to do anymore. I say, hey, just rip the Band-Aid off. Stop pretending we're all doing the same thing. And that's what worries me about the future. Because the one thing that we have here, Lobos, Aggies, you understood that you weren't always playing on the same field as big dogs, but there was some hope at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. And I feel like that hope, that light, that's been extinguished.
Yeah, and then you look at, it's crazy in the dynamic of college sports too. You're trying to get in tougher conferences than if like you're in the pros. You're glad if your division is poor because you get to be first place, you get a playoff bid. But then you look at, you're trying to be in a tough conference because then you put a lot of pressure on yourself. You look at the Mountain, the Mountain West has kind of been all over the place. I mean, there was one year, it was one of the years, and when I was playing, where we had 5 teams from the Mountain West in the NCAA tournament, and then a few years it's been a one bid league. So, but then if you look at the pros, I mean, you look at like in baseball right now, like if you're in the AL East, you could be in last place, but if you're in the AL Central, you're in first place. So with college sports, I think that's where the pressure is with football, because they know it's basically the playoffs start game 1, because you lose again, like, I mean, 1 or 2 games, you're really,
even now with the expanded college football playoff, people just assume that if you're flying that Big Ten, the SEC banner, that's going to give you that margin for error, and then you're going to gobble up all those at-large bids in the college football playoff. How are you feeling? College sports fan, Lobo fan, Aggie fan, it's nothing new that there's a gap between you and everyone else, but usually there's at least that lifeline. They tossed you that lifeline. All right, here's some carrots. You can play your money games. You can be a part of the bowl system. But I'm worried about college basketball. It's already hard enough for quote-unquote mid-major basketball teams to earn a way in the NCAA tournament. Even if you have a great season, it could be not good enough. You only won 28 games, but you lost in your conference tournament. You don't deserve the NCAA tournament. The size of the Big Ten and the SEC. So what happened? Well, UCLA, USC, we knew they were going to the Big Ten. Now they're joined by Oregon and Washington. The Big 12, Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, Utah. That's where they're going. There's 4 teams left in the Pac-12. Cal, Stanford, Oregon State, and Washington State. What are they talking about? How does the Mountain West try to position themselves in this situation where it's about survival? You're not getting that television deal. You're not just automatically filling that void left by the Pac-12 and becoming a power conference So what is survival mode now for the Mountain West? We'll tell you about what has been talked about over the weekend. We'll get your thoughts on the seismic change in college athletics. And I understand it's nothing new, but this feels so much different, that the schools are going to consolidate their power, and this is their chance. There's no one to tell them no. There's no one to tell them, hey, this is college athletics. Don't forget about everyone else. No one's saying that. 505-246-0610. That is the Sports Animal Hotline. Also, the text line. Take your calls and thoughts. What's next for the Mountain West Conference? Could they change banners and be flying a new flag? It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers. We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
I've talked to coaches plenty of times. I know that not everyone's playing on the same playing field. But this one really does feel like the first step to something completely different. The world of college athletics as we know it, even when they try to tell you you're a part of it, it's not going to be the same. So what is next for the Mountain West Conference in this world? JJ Buck DC, former Lobo Chris Perez with you this morning here on the opening drive on the Sports Animal. Mark Ziegler of the San Diego Union Tribune wrote over the weekend that one of the options that is gaining traction with multiple Mountain West sources is a merger more so than an acquisition. They would dissolve the Mountain West in name only. So the Mountain West Conference, you wouldn't have the exit fees anymore. They say, all right, the Mountain West Conference is no longer, and then moves most, here's the key word, most, or all the members and their NCAA tournament units, thank you, San Diego State, into the Pac-12 so they could retain the name. And they say the power conference status. I don't think it's retaining a power conference status at all. That is a pipe dream. But at least you would have a name that, while it's known nationally, it's a laughingstock right now. The Pac-12 does not have a positive spin on it. But then potentially, do you reach out to Gonzaga at that point in time to become a basketball member and get you to 16 teams? So there are talks. The Mountain West, the athletic directors, specifically the presidents, are talking about merging with the remaining Pac-12 schools. The big question marks in this are Stanford and Cal. And, Stanford, a lot of talk is, do they try to float independent for a few years and see if there's like one more dramatic shift that involves the rest of the schools that feel that they belong in the power conferences? Florida State is going to spend a lot more money than they're going to make trying to get their way out of the ACC and that television contract. You have Clemson that's upset. Miami's going to be chirping. So do those schools maybe just try to hold out, play independent for a little bit, and then get swept up in whatever the next move is? Maybe that's the official shift between the haves and the have-nots in college athletics. And for the Mountain West, where do we sit with their television deal? Fox and CBS right now, they share the current Mountain West deal. There's 3 years left on that. But there are clauses involved in that for renegotiation if the conference adds or loses anyone. And the big sticking point in all this is that word, move most of the members. That's where a Stanford, a Cal could assert some of their power and say, hey, we're not going to make this merger if we have to play San Jose State and Wyoming. We're not doing that. And then that's where you get a little dicey. Now, it was also reported that the founding members of the Mountain West should be on sturdy ground. And of course, University of New Mexico is one of the founding members of the conference, which is a good thing. So the schools that could be in jeopardy of getting left behind in these merger talks, we're talking San Jose State or Hawaii as a football-only member, Nevada. But that's where things are trending, and that made the most sense, is somehow the Mountain West remaining schools out west merge. It doesn't immediately make you a power conference, but at least it's something. How you feeling about the Mountain West dissolving and just taking on the Pac-12 banner, even though it's not the Pac-12?
Pacific Mountain, whatever you mean. Yeah, I mean that is. I think that's going to be the biggest thing. Is, and you look at these two conferences. I mean, the Mountain West has always been, pretty consistent with. I think it's been ran pretty well, and you have good competitive teams. It gets competitive each year. But then, yeah, you look at the Pac-12. You look at all these other coaches. Nick Saban talked about that. Like, the Pac-12. Like that's just. There's a lot of good schools on the East Coast, but that's where the West Coast. That's where you had all the good teams of the USC UCLA rivalry. Then we talked about before, like the travel too was so great for the Pac-12 with you had two schools in a very close region where
travel partners.
Yeah, you're playing basketball. You go up to Northern California and get two games with Cal and Stanford. Then you go kind of more to the Mountain West area, the Rocky Mountain area. And you got Utah and Colorado. So, yeah, I think and then you look at the chaos with all the different sports. Like, do you do it just for, a lot of this is football driven. I mean,
it's all football driven.
Even the football coaches are saying that, but they're like, okay, how do we factor this in for the spring sports and softball and baseball and track? So I think it's getting chaotic. So when do we see the NCAA step in and be like, okay, it needs to make sense geographically.
And that's one of the things I wonder is, and we've seen more coaches talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it make sense to have a split? Should football be governed differently than everything else, where you don't have to have an all sports conference? Your money's going to get where it needs to go.
Right.
Your Oregons, the Washingtons, you'll get your Big Ten money playing football there, but do you need all your sports in that conference, or can you keep those regionalized? The gap's there, man. People are going to be hurt. People are not playing by the same budgets, but that's why you have all sports conferences, so you can keep the same budget. But that's the thing. People are not realizing that even for basketball, none of this benefits the student athlete.
Mm-hmm.
You're not always on a charter flight. Football's fine. It's one game a week.
Yeah.
Basketball, all these other sports, I know people don't care about it because you're not buying season tickets. That's destroying the experience for those athletes. 505-246-0610. Art, you are on The Sports Animal. Art, what's up, man? What's on your mind?
How you doing there, JJ? Good to hear you, buddy. You too, Miss Perez. I have a quick question. You kind of answered because I was listening, but since you had said the talk is like the founders of the original group, they should be involved, because I was doing some research, and they're talking about UNM being out. Like, I was thinking that if Cal, or say if Stanford doesn't want to join, right, but Cal says they want to come on board, I'd say take Cal, let the merger come, because UNM, a couple of schools has proven they have one of the best track teams in the nation. They've been a top Olympic sport program in soccer. They're not softball, but the baseball team has beaten these power schools in baseball. And I just want your opinion that as far as you think, if they go by the founding teams, do you think they're going to pull UNM out, not making them part of it, because UNM has proven themselves? I think it's vital that Coach Gonzalez gets it together this year to kind of say, yeah, we can play with that league, because we, like everybody else, we can get transfers too that sit out of Alabama that want to be seen.
Yeah,
they can come here. But I just want your opinion on that, my friend.
Well, here's the thing, and watching the social media over the weekend, it was funny how all of a sudden there's so many Mountain West schools who, by the way, y'all been left out, that their fan bases feel so entitled to kick other teams out of the conference. The noise, the mess that comes out of Boise, the mess that comes out of Fresno, all those fan bases, and fans, I understand how they work.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like, oh, boom, San Jose State, Wyoming, New Mexico, peace out. Here's Cal Stanford. It's like, hold up. Lobo football has been bad. We understand that. But there's also a reason why you're all still in the Mountain West.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't, just because you beat Boise State in the Mountain West title game last year, Fresno State, I didn't see your Pac-12 invite anywhere. Boise State in the blue turf, I don't see your Big 12 invite anywhere. So y'all can be talking a big game, The last thing you want to be putting out there is who gets cut. And for New Mexico, there's a lot of misinformation out there. And I get it. Who knows TV markets? No one does.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the other people in the Mountain West Conference assume Albuquerque, New Mexico, there's no market here. We're a top 50 TV market in the United States, guys. We're 44 right now. And all this is about television deals, right? So that should matter. So I'm not worried about UNM getting left out. I'm not worried about UNM getting cut. That's that's fans. That's arrogant fans in the conference that think they're better than they are. Guess what? We're all in the Mountain West Conference. Fresno State, Boise State, New Mexico, Wyoming, we're all here. Is there a possibility that Hawaii could be in trouble because they are only a football member? Maybe San Jose State, because that was even talked about before this merger. Yes. But I think the Lobos are on solid ground because TV market, basketball performance does matter because there's still plenty of money to be made with the NCAA tournament. You're selling tickets. You want programs that matter. Lobo men's basketball is on the uptick, so I'm not worried about the Lobos getting left out in this situation.
Yeah, and like for me too, with my family, with knowing, if you know UNM athletics, if you're around it enough, you got to realize there's big support here. There's a lot of, you come here as a recruit too. You're like, oh wow, these facilities, they're great. I mean, you got everything you need, and you got the support. Even like with football struggling, there's people still rooting for it. We're still trying. We want it to be good. It's not like we want.
It would be a great time to go to a bowl game this year.
Yeah.
It would.
Oh yeah,
really be a great time
noise,
for the
make a
Lobos.
statement. So. Yeah, I think, that is a big thing too with UNM. We're not going anywhere. I mean, people just, we kind of look at a big, blank spot on the map with New Mexico, with all the other surrounding states. But I think we just got to see this play out and just like, all right, here we got this chaos that we kind of asked for it, but we'll see how, like we said, it all plays out with the chaos of it. And then, but again, it all comes back down to the student athlete. That is a big focus, and I think that just kind of needs to be the conversation more. Like, okay, yeah, we got the TV deals, we got the money, the NIL, whatever, but the experience for a student athlete, for them to be able to play in front of their families and be able to, just learn and grow, with the time management, but not be unreasonable where it's like, okay, we're traveling all this, we're doing all this traveling, and
like it's so easy to say deal with it. It's what you signed up for. It's not what they signed up for when they committed to play at these colleges. Football, it's easier to deal with because it's one game a week.
Right.
You are absolutely changing the lives of so many student athletes that have to play multiple games a week. And it's easy when you don't have to get on those flights. It's easy when you don't have those layovers. Those 8-hour trips across country.
Yeah,
like, that stuff's real. Just because you signed a $50 million TV deal, it does not mean you're chartering every sport that you sponsor.
And that's the tough part too. Is like, oh yeah, you can just get on a flight. I mean, no, it takes a lot on your bodies. All the time zone changes, and again, the flight, like the air travel is obviously, anyone that's traveled, air travel wise, it's not the easiest thing. So I think, that's again a different factor of thinking, okay, what can we do that's going to get this middle ground, but at the same time, it's not really a middle ground. I think you still need to focus more on, okay, student athletes, what do you guys need? We need to hear your voice. I think I hope we see them more on social media too. And, that's what's great, kind of good and bad about social media. You have your own platform. So I hope to see some college athletes that, kind of voice their opinions, and then hopefully these conferences, they hear them out.
505-246-0610. The future of college athletics. We always knew it was a challenge, the gap, the money, but this feels so much different to me. This isn't just, there's the TV deal, keep on playing. It feels like they're really starting to dig their heels in. And I'm talking about the power conferences. I'm talking about that shift where they're playing Monopoly and they bought up the board. And maybe you got one or two properties. It ain't worth that much. So how do you survive? We'll continue to dive into this because we have so much more to get into on the future of college athletics and how it affects you. This is one of the things we have in this state that is ours, that we can be a part of. It's Division I athletics. But how much longer is that door going to be open? How much longer can we say that we believe we can compete with the best or even pretend to compete with the best. 505-246-0610. He is Chris Perez, the former Lobo Hooper. I'm JJ Buck, DC, with you here on The Sports Animal.
This report brought to you by Sandia Area Federal Credit Union.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers. We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Into the landscape, but this feels a little different than even in the past, because they're no longer trying to pretend that you're all are Division I schools and you all are playing the same game. Nope, it's the haves and the have-nots for real. And Matt Brown, he does a fantastic job covering college athletics. He's actually going to join us Wednesday at 7:30. Matt Brown, he writes the Extra Points newsletter. If you want to get smarter about college athletics, about who the people are that are making these decisions, why these decisions are being made, check out Matt Brown in the Extra Points newsletter. He's going to join us Wednesday at 7:30 to discuss more of this. But he put out something this morning that really sums up my feelings, and I wanted to share what he wrote in his newsletter about college athletics. And he wrote, quote, "The true appeal, what gives the entire industry its romanticism, is that it is personal. I do not have a degree from the Cleveland Cavaliers, a corporation that exists primarily to turn a profit. I have a degree from The Ohio State University. My name is carved into the stadium bell tower. I went there. Much like South American and European soccer clubs, college sports fandom is still very much about the direct personal relationship you have with the institution, which is connected to where you grew up, your religion, occupation, cultural experiences, and more. And what makes the rivalry game so passionate and explosive isn't just because of the on-field stakes, but because of the connection of the people off the field. To love college sports is to constantly engage in American anthropology. It's a major reason why I love this job." That was Matt Brown, and he wrote that. And even when you sprinkle in the business side, the capitalism side of it, you know, college sports still had that draw, kind of that aura, that luster, and it's going to lose it. But if you want to be professional sports, then stop trying to pretend you're college sports. Make that shift. Cut the ties. Play football different than everything else, because that's the way it's going. 505-246-0610 is the sports animal hotline. JJ Buck, DC, joined by former Lobo Chris Perez. Tony, you're on the sports animal. What's up, Tony?
Hey, how you doing this morning?
Doing good, man. What's up?
Hey, I have a question. Last week I heard that the Pac-10 is in some lawsuit with Comcast, and would that affect what happens to the Mountain West with them?
I think at this point in time for the Pac-12, they don't have to worry about any lawsuits with Comcast or DirecTV, because I think Comcast was the one that you could actually get the Pac-12 network on. DirecTV did not have the Pac-12 network. So I think after this year, when there's only 4 remaining Pac-12 schools, and that is Stanford, Cal, Oregon State, and Washington State, I really don't think they're going to have a lot of media hurdles to jump through, because they're just looking for members of their conference at this point in time. So I don't think there's any legal battles that are going to hang up anything remaining with the Pac-12. And this is all about the power brokers. I'm talking about ESPN, Fox, CBS. This is what they wanted. We are here because they are paying these rights fees, and they believe in it, and now we have to deal with it. So is this do I just need to step back and calm down and let the dust settle? Or do you think there's something there? And the reason that I feel so differently about this is because I know how important basketball is. And that's the one thing, whether you're a Lobo, you're an Aggie, that gives you the chance to matter nationally.
Well, it's like what Matt said. It's about pride. It's about what you take pride in the degree you get from the college you go to. You take pride in, either making if you make the UNM Hall of Fame, you make the, you're on the wall. Like you look at, I was just walking through the locker room this weekend as ABC was hosting the back to school jam, and you see all the Lobos on the wall. I mean, you look at all the history. I mean, you feel the history when you walk into these places, and I think that's Nick Saban's take too. Is like there are a lot of traditions in college football, and some of those traditions they're getting pushed to the side because of all these deals. So I think tradition is really important. It's more important than money. But then also on the other side, do you think this generation cares a lot about the history of?
Well, not so much the student athletes.
Yeah, I think that's where we're
at this point. Because this and NIL transfer portal, I'm for that. Again, college athletics needed adaptation, not consolidation. But unfortunately, they took so long to adapt that consolidation, it became the main route of survival for all of these schools. And this is one where it's frustrating because there's so many on a national landscape that love this. That if you're in the Big Ten or the SEC, it does not affect you. Your game is not changing.
Yeah.
But it's also that mindset that it kind of exists with the NFL. Like, if you're not the NFL, why should I care about you? Why do I need to talk Major League Baseball? Why do I need to care about the NBA? It's like nothing can exist outside of the NFL in the sports vacuum. And you kind of get that feeling with college athletics. Like, there's a sense that, well, if you're not a power, if you're not a have, why should you exist? Why should you care? And I kind of get that feeling, kind of that NFL above all else. We're kind of trending towards that, Big Ten SEC above everything.
Well, and then it's like the first sport of the school year too, so everyone kind of throws a lot of their eggs in that basket with football. But what I do like too is like seeing some of the football coaches do speak out for those other sports too. And so I think, but at the same time, this is where we're making all our decisions are based on football. But we do love. I mean, a lot of people still love March. I mean, we love college basketball, and so this is where I think we're going to kind of see it be affected a little bit more. Obviously, it's going to affect the wear and tear and travel for the spring sports too. But I think with basketball, you're going to see the same thing. It's kind of that middle ground of like, it's good. You're like, okay, power conferences are good. Everybody else, you kind of figure it out. But I think when you look at, again, the geographic, the logistical part of it, that is going to be huge. I think we're going to see with basketball, like you said, one game a week for football, we can make that work. But basketball, I think it's
putting a basketball team on a commercial flight ain't easy. Those seats ain't getting any bigger.
Yeah,
and that's going to happen. And not every team is going to get to charter, even when you got a $15 million
I saw
television contract.
My 6'10", 6'9" athlete teammates beg for the exit row.
505-246-0610. So we know the conference affiliation for the most part. What's next for the Mountain West? Do you like the idea of a merger, maybe dissolving the Mountain West banner and just taking on the Pac-12 flag, continuing with the members of the Mountain West plus those four? What are the sources saying about that? And also, what are some of the UNM coaches saying about what happened over the weekend? That is next here on The Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Evergard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9543. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
I'll watch games between lower level FCS opponents on television.
You're the 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. guy.
Exactly. That's me. Now, granted, there's not a lot of those folks, but that's me. And the one thing I was thinking about this weekend, speaking of the FCS, is that you'll get that there's going to be this split when it comes to parents and recruits. And you're going to have, if you're a kid that is not going to make a ton of NIL money, and you can still make it in FCS schools. You can still make them at D2 schools too. Let's not forget that. But if you want an overall college experience as a student athlete, there may be coaches and Coach Chris there. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you would think. I'd be interested to get your thoughts on this, because sometimes coaches do have a little influence as far as, hey, this is what you could be getting into potentially here, there, and everywhere. But you could have people swaying kids to go to an FCS school because you can have a better college experience, or a D2 school, or an NAIA school, because of you won't be traveling as much. There is a potential to get NIL money. If you're a kid going to the University of Montana, you mean to tell me that you can't make NIL money at Montana or Montana State? Absolutely. And you have a better college experience, because in the Big Sky, the travel is manageable. The out-of-conference games will probably be, just for football, will probably be something regional. So if that's where I think there's going to be another shift, and maybe it's something that's not going to be as noticeable, but when you have it, this is the type of stuff that may affect the Mountain West eventually. So that's the trickle down, because if I'm a kid and I don't have to travel as much, and my parents don't have to get on a plane every time they want to go see me play on the road, because air travel can get expensive for parents as well, or I don't have to drive 18 hours to go see my kid play in El Paso when I live in Northern California, as opposed to I can drive 10 hours to Missoula or Bozeman or Moscow.
Jay, we're up against it, but I appreciate the call. You kind of led me into one of the things I was thinking about, and that was, at what point do the collectives, and I'm talking about 505 Sports Ventures, I'm talking about Kurt Roth, or even those that would be willing to donate money to Montana schools, do they say it's not worth it for us? If the system is becoming so consolidated, if they're saying, hey, the power's over here, you're never going to have a chance to compete, now at what point are they still going to be willing to pay players to come to your school?
Yeah. And to Jay's point about, he talks about the college experience. When I tell athletes now, even students, like, the college experience is so important in your life. I think those are the most important 4 years, where it's not even just about getting a degree, but it's just the time to grow up. It's the time to either, like, if you want to move away from home, go to it doesn't have to be a big city. I mean, it really shouldn't, because then there's a lot of things that could distract you. Because, I grew up in California. I was like, I felt like UNM was a great move for me, because in perspective of California, it was better for me to go that way. So, yeah, I'm big on the college experience, whatever's best for you, and focusing on that. And then, like you said, also parents love traveling. My parents traveled. I was
now you gotta go from Oregon all the way to Maryland and Rutgers and Penn State, and let's go. 505-246-0610. We got plenty to dive into this morning, breaking down the future of college athletics, because this realignment to me feels different. But what feels different? How about a defensive player being the dominant force? Can a defensive player be what leads America's team to the next level? It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Pitch. There's a line drive right at the shortstop.
for out number 3.
Apodaca ripped to left field. That will bounce in, so it's going to be extra bases as they'll have to chase that one at the wall in the warning track. Flipped up, there's no play at home. So it's an RBI double for Andrew Apodaca. Runner at third. High leverage spot. Can Chavez keep the tie? No, that's going to be cracked into left field. It's a base hit as Love puts the Sandia Matadors ahead for the first time today.
The 0-2. It's upstairs, goes to the backstop, and the run will not score. Gun down at home.
Chavez rocks and fires. Ahmed, that's going to be an RBI for Ahmed as that one right through the gap in right center. Petrie will scoop that one, and it's looking like a triple as Ahmed plugs into third base, and what a way to score that run for the Matadors.
Coach Romero barking out his orders there to his players. He's been around the game for a long time. Nice shot to center field. That'll bring runners in. Just like that, LaCueva will bring 3 runners in to go up 3-0. Runner advances to third. Shot to center. That looks good. That's gone. Man, outstanding center shot there. As LaCueva will score. Antonio Lucero, second baseman, quite the hitter. Shot to third, and good catch. And she gets the out. Outstanding play by Trinity Bazan. Nice bright spot.
Costly errors allowed Cleveland to get 1 run back. That one sent on the ground to the left side. Throw to first in time. Throw home. Got her. Whoa, what a play.
Next door or something. Not sure, but they came out here, and Ellison cracks an RBI out to left field. That's where you got to do it. 1 run, 2 run, and this game could very well be over. It's a play at the plate. It's sliding, and that will do it. The Rams walk off the LaCueva Bears. It's a 3-run batted in shot by Dean Ellison.
Master of the Year, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Bach.
Can a defensive player be the force that changes the fate of a franchise? In the NFL, it's a quarterback world. You got to have a quarterback. Yeah, you need good quarterback play. But he's trying to talk it into existence. And I know everyone is hyper-focused on Dak Prescott, the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Mike McCarthy taking over the play-calling duties with Kellen Moore on to Los Angeles with the Chargers. But could Micah Parsons be the dominating force that pushes the Dallas Cowboys over the top? It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck DC, Chris Perez with you on this Monday morning, and back to school. I am I made it so far, DC.
Have you?
But not thinking about my kid going to school for the first time ever.
It's a wild thought, man. You're gonna be okay, though. I promise.
I'm losing my mind.
Hey, man, I'm 3 days in. My mind is gone.
I know you've had it over the last few days. I'm sure a lot of parents in the car might have dropped off their little one for the first time ever this morning.
Yes, and that, oh man, it is powerful because you think you're gonna be fine, and the second they walk away, you're just losing it, trying to make sure no one sees you.
Oh, I know. Like, I know last night I was like, I got to go do some work. Got my notes, show prep. I can't be thinking about
nothing to see
this.
Allergies.
Yeah. So good luck, all you little ones, as you go to school, and parents that might be dealing with something new. That's been my life the last 4 years.
Yeah, me too.
You get done at the station, and I pick up the little one, and I have no idea what the heck I'm going to be doing today.
You're playing 9, I think, right?
I might have to play 9. Or just go home and bawl my eyes out. Yeah. I'm a little emotional about this, but we'll get through it together, y'all. We'll get through it together. So Micah Parsons, he's been talking a big game. Like, he wants to be that force.
Yeah, he's been playing a big game too. I mean, let's not lie. That dude he's the real deal.
Like, he's talking like he wants to be Aaron Donald, the best of the generation. Like you mentioned, as the dominant force in the NFL. And he, as you said, DC, he has the play to back it up. But he said, quote, in referencing how he's gotten to this point, and we know DeMarcus Ware just went into the Hall of Fame, the standout defensive end from his time in Dallas, and of course won a Super Bowl championship with the Broncos. Well, he's had a good relationship with Micah Parsons, and Micah said over the weekend, quote, when you talk about great careers, you talk about the Hall of Fame, like, I don't think I just want to make the Hall of Fame. I just want to be known as one of the greatest Hall of Famers ever. And DeMarcus Ware has been one of those people that's been in his ear, and Parsons added, quote, talk about a guy that set the standard, 20 sack seasons. I mean, a guy who's just outright dominated in his prime, and it went out the right way. I couldn't be more excited for him. I thought he was a first ballot guy, a guy I looked up to, his IQ, bro. Anytime you just talk to him about football, when he just came in that one day, I learned so much. So he's got a great role model in his ear, in DeMarcus Ware. He's already got the game to back it up, that kind of inside, outside dominating force. Now, is Micah Parsons, is he good enough? Is he polarizing enough to where, I know football, we talk about the quarterback, and it's what can the quarterback do? Could Parsons, being the leader and potential defensive player of the year this season, be what actually pushes the Cowboys over the top?
Absolutely.
What say you,
Yeah.
CP?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, just when you do look at kind of the dynamic of football now, with it being a quarterback-driven league, you still want that defensive factor, because now you feel like you could always be in a game. So I think with him always just kind of just having that fear factor from Mike, I think he could definitely help him get. I mean, they're still going to be in that contention, and then hopefully, with the dynamic of Mike McCarthy, taking over the play calling, we'll just see how all that goes. But yeah, I mean, defense wins. I still believe in all sports. You just got to have a good defense again, because that could be more consistent than your offense. But yeah, I think so.
Yeah, there's something to that. Defense definitely wins championships. That has never changed. And when you have a guy like this, he is next level. When he's talking that way, it gets me fired up. Like, wanting to be the best. That's not smack talk. That's just him raising his own awareness. And dude, that guy's legit. He is something to build around. And yes, he absolutely can help them take that next step. I love his progression. Just, he feels like a veteran, even though he's only been around for 3 years. It's insane. That this guy, he is the truth.
And it's something that could take some pressure off of Dak Prescott and the offense if they can continue to turn the football over like they've done. And it's hard year in and year out to stay at that level. When you're at the top of the league and generating turnovers, sometimes there's regression. It's a trend that goes back and forth. But the Cowboys defense, to me, that's going to set the tone for their season. Because I think Dak Prescott is good. Are we ever going to put him in that top 5 or 6? No. But
I mean, you say no, but actually, I mean, look at Geno Smith. If he has a turnaround type year, I could see Dak.
He can absolutely compete.
Absolutely. He could be a top 5 guy. Now, it might just be for one season, but he does have a skill set. Exactly. That's all you need. One Super Bowl ring, and it changes everything.
Yeah, that's all you need. And the way it's setting up for the Cowboys is, I think Micah Parsons kind of becoming that force. It doesn't matter who we're talking, Dak Prescott to Ben DiNucci, whoever, Cooper Rush, the starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys is going to have all the hype, is going to have all the pressure on him. But I think Micah Parsons is good enough, is polarizing enough that he could be that force that pushes that franchise over the top. Because you got the NFC East. It's still Daniel Jones. And I like Brian Daboll. He's been fantastic. But that's not a juggernaut. It's Sam Howell getting the keys to the Washington Commanders. And so the Dallas Cowboys should absolutely be right there. And I know people going, oh, it's the Dallas Cowboys. All you do is you hype them up. That's what the media does. It's not easy to win 12 football games in the NFL back-to-back years.
Mm-hmm.
It's disappointing playoff performances, sliding in the middle of the field as the clock runs out. But that's why I think Dak Prescott is better this season. Missed the time last year through a ton of interceptions. I don't think it's going to be an OC thing. I think it's just strictly Dak Prescott will be better. I don't think that's a Kellen Moore issue that he threw all those interceptions. And then, Micah Parsons, being a generational talent. And that changes things. And I think back to DeMarcus Ware when he won the Super Bowl. That Broncos team is not as good offensively as this Dallas Cowboys team could be this year. I get it. You had Peyton Manning managing the show.
Yeah.
But you also got Brock Osweiler a few weeks at the end just so Manning could rest up. Yeah. But Von Miller was Super Bowl MVP. Marcus Ware is coming off the other edge. But that's the level of defense Dallas thinks they have. And I think that's kind of comparable to what Mike Parsons is talking about is a Super Bowl run like we saw from Denver.
And that's the kind of defense they're going to need because you look at their first 6 weeks at New York Giants week 1. You're going to need your defense to keep the points down on the road. That's a huge game Sunday night. It's a big deal. Against the Jets week 2. If Aaron Rodgers is going crazy, you don't have a chance. The Cardinals, that should be a pretty manageable one on the road. Even Patriots, again, manageable. But then you have 49ers and Chargers. Like, you have 4 games where defense could make or break the season in the first 6 before the bye week.
And if there's any franchise I'm looking at and trying to downplay the quarterback position, well, it's because of a guy like Michael Parsons. And I do think that unit, I do think of a player of his caliber, a player of his ilk in the locker room could absolutely push the Dallas Cowboys over the top because the NFC, we think it's cut and dry. And we think it's Philadelphia and San Francisco, but football, life comes at you fast.
Oh, yeah.
And how much longer can San Francisco keep doing that voodoo magic with that offense? No, we're going to find out if Brock Purdy has what it takes to not be great, but be good because the pieces are great in San Francisco. So if he's good, they're going to be right back there in contention. And I'm not as worried as some people are with the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, they lost their coordinators. But you have a quarterback that is still ascending, 2 great weapons on the outside, the quarterback run game plus their running backs. Like DeAndre Swift's not a scrub. Swap him for Miles Sanders, they're going to be fine. Jalen Carter, if he gets his ish together, was the best player in the draft last year. But outside of that, man, hype him up all you want. Cowboys have a chance in the NFC.
Yep, and we're sniffing it out. We're in August, so I mean it is that time. But I do like DC talked about too, like his mindset of not just want to be in the Hall of Fame, but one of the greatest Hall of Famers because look at like championships do carry. I believe championships carry a lot more weight because it is more about attitude. It is more about that you're not just trying to get stats, and so he definitely wants to win. I mean, I remember Jimmy Butler from the Heat said he wouldn't even show up for his if he had a Hall of Fame entry, and so I think just kind of having that attitude. If you kind of have a leader like that, and then also for him embracing DeMarcus Ware, and learning from him. I mean, you think about the greats, that's what they did. You look at a Kobe Bryant, he tried to soak up as much as he can from Michael Jordan. So I think that is just, you want a guy like that in your locker room. So I think you have that kind of character in there. And what I believe as a coach, it's the players that help you create that culture. You can have a culture, but if the players don't buy into it or you don't have those leaders, I think when you look back at the Spurs days, I think Tim Duncan really bought into what Greg Popovich was doing, and then he led the charge. So this is a good opportunity for the Cowboys to have a guy like Parsons to be able to say, hey, this is our guy. It doesn't have to be a quarterback. And then even the quarterback will fall into place and Dak Prescott. And you see all it just takes is just that team camaraderie and bringing it together and hoping for the best.
You bring up DeMarcus Ware. He got Von Miller right.
Mm-hmm.
Von Miller was 5 years in.
Mm-hmm.
He was on kind of a weird path. He had some suspensions. He was very, very close to losing a full year on some weed. But
stay off the weed.
Yeah, I mean, but that's really what was going on. So he in my eyes, got Von Miller on that Hall of Fame path. And I think a lot of us now say, all right, the guy's got 2 rings. He's there. He's got all the credentials for Hall of Fame. I think that's pretty fair to say. And that's largely because of DeMarcus Ware. And so seeing that DeMarcus Ware is having an impact on Parsons so early, I think that is such a good thing for them. And it is going to be one of those things that develops a potential Hall of Famer. I love that connection.
Micah, just don't sing the national anthem. 505-246-0610, the Sports Animal hotline, also the Sports Animal text line this morning. Could the Patriots finish last in the AFC East for the first time since 2010? The last time that happened? Well, this bill has people excited in New England. We'll hit that next on the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
We fight the battles no one hears about. We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others. And act as one-man air traffic control towers. We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial.
So it would be 2000. Could the Patriots finish last in the AFC East for the first time since 2000? 22 years. And not every year Tom Brady has been the quarterback of the Patriots, but they don't finish last. But there's not a lot of hype. There's not a lot of buzz surrounding the New England Patriots. Overreaction, not overreaction, but the bill that could be turning the tide for the New England Patriots. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal, 505-246-0610, The Sports Animal Hotline, or The Sports Animal text line. It's not Bill Belichick, it is Bill O'Brien that is getting people hyped up in New England. New wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster said, quote, "When they got Bill O'Brien, it was kind of a no-brainer, just because I know how this system is and how it works and how he works the offense." Belichick, as he is as head coach, to bring OB in and bring in Mike Gesicki and all these other guys, all these key pieces, it was kind of like, wow, this is a great fit for me. So it wasn't the Bill Belichick way. It wasn't just the Patriots. It was Bill O'Brien that got Juju Smith-Schuster's attention. And I think it's going to be Bill O'Brien that makes or breaks the season for the New England Patriots. Do they get something out of Mac Jones? Because there's a weird vibe in Patriots camp. And Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, put it out there. He thinks that Bill Belichick actually wants Bailey Zappi to beat out Mac Jones. I know at the end of last year, or in the offseason, there's some talk about, Mac Jones, did he stray out of his lane, questioning the coaching, looking for advice outside of the organization? How dare you defy Bill Belichick? Bill Belichick was wrong last year. His choice to not have an offensive coordinator, to put Joe Judge and Matt Patricia in there. Football guys know football. We've all been around it, right? Chris, you're a basketball guy, you know certain things, but I'm sure even for you, there's strengths.
Right.
And just the arrogance of Bill Belichick last year to be like, you know what? I don't need a true NFL offense coordinator. I'll just take NFL coaches and make them the offensive guy for my young quarterback. It didn't work. And now with Bill O'Brien, if the Patriots are to not finish in last place, it's going to be Bill O'Brien that is the difference for them this season.
Yeah, and for the New England, my basketball equivalent to them have been the San Antonio Spurs. You had Greg Popovich and all his pieces, and then now look where they're at. They're the first pick in the draft. They get Victor. I mean, now that was 5-6 years ago. That the Spurs are not sniffing the lottery at all. But then now you look at New England, who's again there's project that you're trying to still figure things out after you lose Tom Brady. I think this is, again, it's just trying to get the right pieces back and trying to figure it out. And, Bill Belichick, he is still a smart guy. So I kind of see that turnaround again for the New England Patriots, where people are kind of saying, all right, now it's the Bills division. But, you just never count those kind of guys out. Those kind of the guys have ran dynasties for so long. So I I think there is definitely some upside, but again, it is that quarterback battle. I think it's healthy for them just because you need a lot more out of Mac Jones, and hopefully it's either okay, you got to get better, or Bailey's coming in and taking over. So
yeah. So here's the thing: Bill Belichick is still a fantastic coach. When you look at not finishing last in the division for 22 years, and you've had the injuries, you've had the Matt Castle season, you brought in Mac Jones the last few years, you've not finished last. That is a credit to Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
But even the greats can make a mistake, and I think Bill did that last year with the coaching. He adjusted, brought back someone he trusts in Bill O'Brien to run the offense. And one of the things I was thinking, DC, with this kind of weird feeling between Belichick and Mac Jones was Mac just like a Josh McDaniels project that, Josh was like, hey, we can get this guy mid-first round and I can make him into something. And then once Josh left, Mac was kind of left out to dry with Belichick. How do you read this situation?
I can see that. Knowing how the draft played out that year and that they dropped to him, it was kind of a situation knowing they needed a quarterback. Yeah. If you let him slide, that might have been a bigger problem for the Patriots. So was it a McDaniels project? Probably. But this isn't the first time there's been quarterback questions. Remember, with Jimmy G, there was some reports out there that he wanted to keep him over Brady. So I do look at it, and I think if it is, in fact, McDaniels' project, then Bailey Zappi does seem like the answer for Belichick, because he clearly wants his guys, and it does not seem that Mac Jones is one of them.
Yeah, it's one of the ones where you can see how maybe Mac Jones and the Patriots could be consistent. It's an uphill battle. We're still talking about Josh Allen, who I think because of his postseason struggles, they struggled last year at home against Cincinnati. That was a tough game, but Josh Allen still went toe to toe. Remember, was it 2 years ago, that wild AFC game where Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City with when 13 seconds got in field goal range and then ended up winning the game? Because I think actually Josh Allen is being underrated going into this season because he just hasn't been in a Super Bowl yet because of the postseason. So the Bills to me are still a favorite. I think the Dolphins, with how they've managed the situation around Tua, it's really fascinating because they've gone all in the offensive weapons. And Mike McDaniel is a Kyle Shanahan product. And so what does that mean? It means you maximize your skill position players. You get a quarterback that's not expensive, that's good, can put the football where it needs to go. You don't have to overpay him yet, and that's what you still have Tua on his rookie contract. And of course, we know Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. It's easy to see why you'd be picking the Patriots behind those three teams right now.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting conference, because you're looking at the Jets situation, and you're almost, for me, I'm like, I don't really want to see it fail or go well. I just want to see what happens, with them, with the Aaron Rodgers, project, and with the Bills, like you said, it's just what Josh Allen's been able to do to kind of get them in the talks.
Well, it's also interesting too. You mentioned Josh Allen and how he feels like he needs to change. And the Bills have been very good. And you also factor in everything that happened at the end of last season, the DeMar Hamlin situation, that team trying to come back together towards the end, the frustrating loss to Cincinnati in the playoffs, and the aftermath with kind of the Stephon Diggs off season. Josh Allen said over the weekend, he was telling CBS Sports that he said, quote, "I still feel like a kid playing a kid's game. I like to be loose. I like to have a lot of fun, but I understand there's times when I'm going to have to be serious and going to have to be kind of a jerk and try to demand the most out of my guys." Do you think this is an overcorrection from Josh Allen, or is him just not being edgy on the field than the Bills' problem?
I think it is definitely a balance. You look at athletes throughout how they went about their business and how they went about being a leader on their team. So I think, with Josh Allen, I think it's very reflective. I hope it's not an overcorrection where he's just totally, he's like being
They've been a pretty good football team with the way he's been the last couple years.
It's just some people need that looseness. That's like I said, that's just that tightness. Josh Allen, he throws up before every game just because he wants to relieve his anxiety with it. I guess sometimes you just have
Josh
that.
Allen or Donovan McNabb? What are we talking about?
A little bit of both, but yeah. So I think, I don't know, just kind of he's just got to find that balance. I mean, he's got to be, obviously he's the leader of that group, but you look at like Nikola Jokic. I mean, he's after the winning championship, he's like, I got to get home. Like he just but just some people it's how they go about it, how they handle it. If they need some time off, you look like a Dennis Rodman who needed to go to Vegas here and there, and some Kobe loved living in the gym and he loved working hard. Like it's just finding your own niche, and then also, but as a leader, it is a different story because you got a group of guys that are looking up to and looking towards you setting the culture. But you to me as a coach, the things you don't let slide is effort. If you're not giving full effort, then no, sorry, like we're gonna correct that. The discipline part, being on time, like all that stuff. But like, if whatever you do on your free time, how you recover, make sure it's just healthy for you mentally and physically. Do something where you're riding your bike on the beach or whatever, or you want to go hunting, you want to go golfing, whatever it is, you want to go, you like playing instruments or whatever, like just do something. You like art, you like drawing, whatever it is, just have your own mental and physical recovery. And then when you hit it hard, just like make sure like, hey, we're playing for a championship. We're not just playing just to be out there and make some money. Like, no, it just depends where you're at. So I think with the Bills, they understand that, like, hey, we haven't won a Super Bowl yet, and we're in the talks of it.
You never want to rest on your laurels, but I also don't want to overcorrect to just overcorrect.
Yeah.
So the Josh Allen, his attitude, how he handles that locker room will be something to watch, especially the offseason of him and Stephon Diggs. What was the rift? Was there really anything there? But Josh Allen saying maybe he has to be more of a jerk, and is that the difference? Is being that jerk, is that going to take you over the top? Because Mahomes seems pretty loose. Mahomes in an offense seem pretty good, and I think Josh Allen and the Bills still have the talent to be right there with Mahomes and Kansas City. 505-246-0610. That's the Sports Animal Hotline with the discussion of conference realignment, what it's going to look like, what's the future hold for the Mountain West. There is one thing we know for sure. There's a conference schedule out this season. Now, when it comes to that basketball team out there, the Lobos will go dancing if these two players pop. I'll tell you who they are next here on The Sports Animal.
All right, starting to move along a little bit.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers. We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
And there's still so much to get out, to get through, because it's not done. The Mountain West and the remaining Pac-12 schools, the four of them, what conversations are they having? How do they view each other? Brett McMurphy from the Action Network, I just ran across this tweet. He said, following last Tuesday's meeting with the commissioner, this was the Pac-12, George Kliavkoff, a source said that one Pac-12 president contacted the Big 12 and asked if the conference would take all 9 of the Pac-12 schools except for Oregon State and Washington State. So it was messy, and they knew the end was coming.
Yeah.
What's up with Oregon State and Washington State, man? They're getting left out to dry, but guess what? They could be future members of the Mountain West Conference. The Wyoming AD spoke out about the situation. We'll get you what he said to the Casper Star Tribune coming up as well. And you're just trying to wrap your head around it as a fan. Like, what should you care about? Why does it matter? We've seen realignment before, and I have never felt this frustrated with it because I understand the game. We work in it, been around athletics, the haves and have-nots. But this feels like the first time that they're going to tell the have-nots to go kick rocks. Mm-hmm. And that game could change. And what you love, your basketball, that could be affected. Like, that could change. The NCAA tournament, at least the carrot at the end, the light at the end of the tunnel was you can compete with the big dogs in basketball. And I'm worried that right around the corner, that's not going to be the case. Because that football money, that power consolidation, that could tear apart everything. But the one thing we know for sure is that this year, the conferences, they're set. The schedule is going to be out there. And you know what is ahead. JJ Buck, DC, former Lobo basketball player Chris Perez with you. Thought that would be a good transition into the two players that I think are the difference. And the Lobos being an NCAA tournament team this year. Not Jalen House, Jamal Mashburn Jr. We know that. Mm-hmm. It is Nelly Jr. Joseph and Mustafa Amzil. Those two players pop. Lobo basketball could finally get back to the NCAA tournament this season. Of course, Nelly Jr. Joseph, the transfer from Iona, he's going to bring a defensive presence in the post Lobos haven't had in a long time, a shot blocker, a weak side defender, a big-time defensive playmaker. And what you're learning is Mustafa Amzil, that dude's got a pretty strong game. So he got a chance to play with Finland in the World University Games that were going on in China. They wrapped up over the weekend the 6'9" transfer from Dayton. He had 11 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists as Finland beat Romania 76-61. They finished in 5th place in the World University Games. Finland was led by Amzil in scoring and rebounding throughout the entire tournament. They were 4-1 in their 5 games. That's a pretty impressive performance for the brand new Lobo, who I know everyone on campus is excited for him to get back. great experience, great opportunity playing for Finland at the World University Games. And those two players, and I look at the roster, that backcourt, you've had some other transfers on the wing. To me, I think they're going to be the key for the Lobos this year.
Yeah, and I think it's safe to say we won the transfer portal. In terms of what you lost and gained. Mustafa's game, he could score at all three levels. I met him over the summer too, great guy, and he could score the basketball, played really well for Dayton as well. I remember his crazy, running floater against Kansas back in, I think, 2021 when he hit, it shocked, Kansas when they were fourth in the nation. But I think, again, now he's bringing a lot more experience and, kind of that big guard on the wing to where he could read and react off his, he could set a screen and react, or he could just be spotting up, and he has a good feel of where to be, so I think with Jalen, driving, hopefully they get a good chemistry where you need to get to the right spots. Coach Alfred used to call it hunting daylight, where you just when a driver goes, try to find the seam that's open where they can see you and they can make either a straight line pass or at least a good, easier pass than if you had to throw it over your shoulder or throw it behind you. But yeah, I think, when you talk, and then also with Nelly Junior Joseph down there, it's going to be, the right piece. That's what I can't think what the transfer portal is doing now for college basketball teams, is kind of being like that. When you talk about NBA teams, when they when they lose, they're okay, who do we need to get to beat this team that we lost to? You look at when the Bulls try to get by the Pistons or the Lakers by the Celtics, and I think now it's really okay. What do we need to do to get by San Diego State? What kind of pieces? What were we lacking? And so this is now it's kind of like that. I think this is the fun part about.
Yeah, with the transfer portal in NIL, that was actually a way to have a more level playing field, because you can get an instant impact. You can get a guy from a power school that is good enough to play there, but maybe you just fell behind a couple guys on the depth chart.
Yeah,
and so that was a way to compete, and that was something that kind of was evening out college athletics. But now, this is going to be really interesting to watch out moving forward, because you look at what's going to happen to the schools in the future. That's what I'm saying. Now, there's one thing we know for sure. It's what's happening next season. That is the one thing we can talk about. That's the one thing we can analyze. And actually, hey, let's talk about the team. And the two players I think are going to be the biggest difference for the Lobos in the front court are football. Because after that, who knows what system we're looking at. But to your point on the transfer portal, because the wing position too for UNM, Isaac Mushila, another dude has experience from Texas A&M Corpus Christi, had a really great first round performance in the NCAA tournament last year against Alabama, and it's also now the balance too. As you're Richard Pitino, is you got guys coming in right away that are playing, but then you're also trying to develop some young guys and take advantage of that. And you're looking at a True Washingtoner, a JT Toppin, guys that are high level recruits that are going to be coming in and fighting for it. And I do like the balance of the roster. The challenge, though, is it's easy to say you have the depth. How do you use that depth?
Oh, yeah.
How are you willing, what guys are you willing to get the minutes and you not immediately just, shrink that rotation to who you trust?
And that's what we learned from, the super team era, too. You could have all the greatest guys, but how can you put them all together? And I think that is what we're looking for. I think fans do, back in, Coach Alfred, is we kind of look for okay, who is either the next Kendall Williams or the Tony Snell, the Alex Kirk. And I think but what I like when I think about college, it is so nice to have a big wing that could shoot it. And I think that's what we had in Tony Snell, back in 2010 through 2013 is just a matchup nightmare, and that's what you're trying to get. You're trying to make it all fit, who can complement each other. And I know we'll talk about how Chris Paul fits in with the Warriors, but those are the kind of moves you're making. You're saying how's this going to work? No, I think there's more thought into it now, because we saw how the super team era kind of went wayside, because you could have all these players, but if they're if one needs the ball in their hands more, and like they both need the ball in their hands, there's only one
still
ball.
Matters.
Yeah,
it's going to be a challenge, but I'm excited for at least next year because that's the one known. After that, it is the ultimate unknown for college athletics. And speaking of that, what are some of the ADs in the Mountain West Conference saying after this weekend? How are they trying to position their conference? And what is realistic when it comes to the remaining 4 Pac-12 teams and how they could merge or work with the Mountain West Conference? That's next here on the Sports Animal.
Sponsored by Blindster.com.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Evergard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9543.
So it was all about the money. We understand it. We're all on the same page. Conference realignment. If anyone tries to tell you differently, they're wrong. It's about the money. It's not better for the student athlete, this or that. It was about the money. It's not better when Oregon and Washington are playing Rutgers, Maryland, and Penn State. But it's here. Now we have to adjust with it. Is this as simple as, hey, JJ, settle down, man? Just let the dust settle. See what happens. We'll adjust. I don't quite have that feeling, but I guess we'll see what happens. What happened was Pac-12 was gone. There's 4 teams left. Arizona, Arizona State, Utah, Colorado. They went to the Big 12. And guess what? Mountain West Conference didn't die. It did not implode. Now those teams, they're still holding out hope. They still want the Big 12 to come a calling, but I don't think that call's coming anytime soon. Boise State, Fresno State, your arrogance, San Diego State. I get it, man. You're good. You've won football games. The Aztecs just went to the national championship game, and guess what? They're still in the Mountain West Conference. They're still stuck with us. Reality check. But what does the future of the Mountain West hold? JJ Buck, DC, former Lobo Hooper, Chris Perez, hanging out with us on this Monday morning. Well, the reports over the weekend, of course, Mark Ziegler, San Diego Union Tribune wrote about it. Sources in the Mountain West talking about a merger that's gaining traction, but I don't think it's going to be all 4 teams. And Wyoming AD Tom Berman spoke with the Casper Star Tribune and their writer Ryan Thornburn, who asked him about this merger and where he could see it going. And he said, quote, first of all, the 4 remaining Pac-12 teams, Oregon State, Washington State, Cal, Stanford, 2 very different sets of universities. Washington State and Oregon State are more similar to many of the Mountain West schools. Cal and Stanford are very unique institutions, probably unique nationally. So they're not probably ideally suited to be the 4 to say, all right, we all have the same plan and same goals, because I'm guessing they're a little different. But I don't want to speak for them. But then he added, for Wyoming, we are proud of who we are. We are one of the original founders of the original WAC and original members of the Mountain West Conference. We've been an important cog in that history in this league. But that means nothing. That's what I'm adding, is that history means nothing, because they just blew all that up, because it means about TV dollars. But what I wanted to get out of that is I think that's the sense. I believe that's the direction of kind of Oregon State and Washington State will settle for joining the Mountain West Conference. Mountain West will add some more teams, because right now, guess what? Size matters. And you want to have teams there so your league doesn't fall apart. And Cal and Stanford, I guess, football, they try to go independent for a while. Stanford sees if there's one more sweep, maybe they can latch on to something. Because, Cal they were hoping to trend upwards, at least in basketball. That's Mad Dog Mark Madsen coming in after his run with Utah Valley, and we saw that right here at the pit, how good Utah Valley was, beating the Lobos in the NIT. That seems like the most realistic and most plausible situation is Oregon State, Washington State become members of the Mountain West Conference. Cal, Stanford try to figure out, do their academic, whatever, own thing, and you move forward. Now, what is interesting is that Pac-12 banner. Do you think that matters, DC? Like, because you're coming into this market and you just got hit with a crazy dose of college athletics news and realizing, oh, okay, this stuff pops. in Albuquerque, but from kind of your perspective, as you were in Pac-12 territory and Mountain West territory when you were up in Denver for a little bit, because you had Colorado State and Air Force, but then you had Colorado in the Pac-12.
Indeed.
Do you think the Pac-12 banner is the way to go if they do this merger, kind of consolidate, and now the Mountain West just takes over that void where the Pac-12 is? Because they're not going to be a power conference, but does that banner, does that name matter more nationally?
To me, no. The one thing that would actually matter is if they have this Apple deal, because I think that actually is more lucrative than people are giving it credit for right now. When you look at it, if they add 5 million subscribers, those teams could get 50 million apiece. That's a big number, and that's very realistic. So in terms of money, I think maybe that holds a little more weight, assuming that they do go ahead with that deal, which seems to be potentially off the table. I'm not totally sure, but it's not so much the name, it's the deal.
Yeah, and I wonder too, Apple's not coming back with that same thing.
So that's
for
off the
Pac-12.
table then.
Well, because they just lost Oregon and Washington and Arizona State. So if you're the Mountain West, you bring in Oregon State and Washington State. Your TV partners right now are Fox and CBS.
That are not on DirecTV right now.
That are not on DirecTV right now. Yes, and that is something they got to figure out.
They need to figure that
out. But that's
fast.
still the linear options that these schools want. And that's one of the things that Washington said is, they wanted a linear TV option. That's why they went to the Big Ten. So you renegotiate. Is this could you get double out of it if you're the Mountain West? Because Washington State and Oregon State obviously have zero value because the Pac schools wanted to leave them behind anyway. Mm-hmm. And so that's going to be the challenge is you can bring them in. Are you going to be able to get any more money out of your TV partners?
No.
Because you're still getting left behind regardless in this situation. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to continue to talk about this. How you feel?
Crazy.
How do you feel? You're a college sports fan. This is your world. This is the one thing we can touch. This is the one thing we're a part of. Lobos, Aggies, Division I athletics. And we understand that gap has been there, but we've dealt with it. But does this feel like the seismic shift where they kick you to the curb for good? 505-246-0610. It is the opening drive here on The Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers. We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Are going to be more than willing to start shutting that door on everyone else. And so how do you survive? Is it Oregon State, Washington State coming in? Okay, that could happen with the Mountain West Conference. Do they take on the Pac-12 banner? That doesn't mean you get power conference status. They are not going to look at that conference and say, hey, the winner of this conference gets an automatic bid in the college football playoff. Because you know what? They would have done that by now. If college athletics cared about a playing field that mattered, if college athletics, I'm talking ADs, presidents, boosters, etc., if they cared about a world that made sense to compete, all of this would have been solved by now. We would not be in this situation. They needed adaptation, not consolidation, and they got the consolidation, and now we got to live with that fact, and we got to eat it. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck, DC, got Chris Perez in the house today. Speaking of eating it, U.S. women's national team, they go out, they lose in penalty kicks. Opportunity was there to advance. Misses off the post. Inability to score a goal. What a disaster. And this is a disaster. Now, there's multiple factors involved. A lot of this was kind of out of sight, out of mind. And for them, it could be much worse because it could have been happening prime time. Instead, a lot of people were waking up, looking at the highlights and going, oh man, what happened? The fact that it happened in the middle of the night, actually good for them. But hey, you wanted to be equals, and here you go. And you were the best in the world. You're not the best in the world anymore. You lost your edge. And good on the rest of the world for committing to their programs. Now, a lot of it came from FIFA, and I was talking to some people that have been involved at that level. FIFA poured a ton of money into women's soccer, and good on them. Yeah, because they should and they deserve it. And that's why you saw 3 teams from Africa advance to the knockout stages. That would have never happened 4 years ago. They would have never had a chance to compete at that level. So here's the situation: the world got better. The United States lost its edge, And much like we were talking about the men a few years ago, needing a complete overhaul after they did not qualify for the World Cup, the women are going to go through the exact same thing. The coaching wasn't good enough. The players weren't good enough. If you watched any of the Women's World Cup, you saw a team that could not score. 4 years ago, this team scored 6 against Vietnam, not 3. 4 years ago, this team is not going 90-plus minutes and added time and not scoring a goal. Like, this was boom, game, set, match. What a disappointment. Coach, he's gone. The system is producing really good players. Trinity Rodman, Sophia Smith, they are really good. But the overall collective, they didn't have the edge. And you could see that.
And that's in all sports, that's where it comes down to. And I think when you have number one next to your name, I mean, there's just a little bit more added pressure. And when you're coming in we see it in March Madness all the time too. It's like, well, shoot, that's a lot more pressure on you. So I think also you see, like you said, the world got better, and we came in like, okay, we're gonna just kind of cruise, even just cruise to the state. Yeah, we're just gonna cruise there and we're gonna make it. But man, like if you're in first place, that means people are chasing. It doesn't mean you're focused on the finish line, but like that doesn't mean you stop. If you're first place in a race and you're running, that doesn't mean stop running. That means you got to keep going because there's other people trying to catch you. So I think that's what happened here. And again, we saw it in the basketball world too, where the world got better, and Team USA basketball had to kind of revamp that too. And you look at the teams of late too, and it's not necessarily all the superstars, but it's guys that are like, you know what, I'm going to take pride in wearing this jersey, and we got to realize we're not just cakewalking this. Yeah, you got to come in and represent your country well, and go take what's yours. And because if you don't take what's yours, someone else will take it, and that's exactly I think what we saw in this. And so that's kind of what's so cool about the FIBA world, the FIFA world, is that you see, I mean, you just see the world get better. It doesn't matter where you're from, man. It's just as long as you take pride in your country and pride in your team, man, you can do anything.
And it's going to be interesting too. You mentioned basketball. Now, it's not the one thing with basketball, the Olympics, that gets people's attention. You mentioned FIBA, and that's actually right around the corner. Like the United States, Steve Kerr, like they're putting a team together, and it's not the stars.
Yeah.
But if they don't win, then people are going to notice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, why didn't Jalen Brunson and these guys win? What is going on?
Well, they can't beat the select team. The select team is they were 2-0 against them in the scrimmages. So, but yeah, hopefully that will give them their edge.
505-246-0610. That is the Sports Animal hotline, the Sports Animal text line this morning. Speaking of an edge, Anthony Davis. He is the face of the Lakers. Not can he be. He is the face of the Lakers. As Davis agreed to a 3-year, $186 million maximum contract extension. So he's tied to the Lakers through 2028. Total of about $270 million on the deal. He is now the richest man in a annual contract value in the NBA, $62 million per season. He's 30 years old. We obviously know when he's on the court, he still is a difference maker. Look what he did last postseason. Became just the third Lakers player with 50 blocks in a single postseason behind Shaquille O'Neal and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. AD has been tied with LeBron James. And it's been, all right, as long as LeBron is there, AD, he can be kind of the number 2, fill his role. They got that bubble championship. They had a really good postseason run last year. But now this is the first time where it's a changing of the guard. And it is, AD, you are going to be here longer than LeBron is. And are you ready to be the face of the Los Angeles Lakers? Because they're not asking the question anymore, can he be? They just made him the face of the Lakers. Because once LeBron says, I'm done, it is AD's team.
Yeah. And I think the moves that the Lakers have made at the trade deadline and in free agency have set up the Lakers a lot better, because I think they're learning from their mistakes of how they were signing players. Even Charles Barkley mentioned that, Lakers didn't really make any big home runs, but man, they got a lot of good, singles and doubles with the guys they signed. You got a guy like Gabe Vincent coming in with that edge. But like you said, that's always been my biggest factor with AD, is having that edge, like when he turns it on and off. And with his, with injury prone, and he is a face of the Lakers, and he could, if he really takes that role. But then also he does have, I believe he has the right supporting pieces around him. Obviously with LeBron going, on his way out. The Lakers are revamping. I think it is time, not necessarily build around him, but build with him. Build with AD, and Rob Pelinka is doing a great job of just, this is the market. This is the LA market. It's not about getting the big names. It's about getting the right pieces, and that's what you can do when you buy into that. Again, bringing back Austin Reeves was huge.
And how about the Austin Reeves story? I went from, oh, this guy's going to get $100 million.
Yeah.
The Lakers going to match it, and it's $64 million.
Oh, they play that. They play that perfectly.
and so AD, it's no longer can he be, he is.
Yeah.
I heard an interesting stat. Last year in the playoffs, he played 26 games in a row, and that's his longest stretch as a Laker. 26 games. Like, he needs to be healthy. If he's going to be the face, he's got to get that right.
So you're saying maybe try to get him to play 24 games, take a day off, and then play another 24 straight games in the regular season. Because we know, because we just watched them come through the play-in tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So and we watched Miami Heat do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, when healthy.
Kind of just, take your lumps, find your way to get through the regular season, and go from there.
Yeah, and then you got obviously, the Denver Nuggets are still going to be that team to beat, and just kind of face them, because I honestly, you look at that route that the Lakers had, it wasn't that hard. You had a Memphis Grizzlies team that was a mess. I mean, they were kind of a mess, but again, you can't always bet on that either. The Warriors were struggling too. But like you said, I think you look at what we learned last year. I think when you're in, okay, now it's 0-0. You have to face these kind of teams anyways. And if you have to run into the Suns, you have to run into the Nuggets. The Clippers, whatever. Like, you're gonna play tough teams, and so I think you just kind of find your way in. Hopefully, they manage AD a little bit better, which I think they will. They've had AD for a few years now.
At this point, they know him inside and out.
Exactly.
AD is absolutely talented enough to be that
no
guy.
question.
He is. It's just been, we haven't seen it on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
And when you finally did see it on a consistent basis, as DC just mentioned, they did get to the Western Conference Finals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they went on a run. And, for the Lakers, is it going to be enough around Anthony Davis? Because what the Suns did, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, I'm not worried about depth at that point in time. If those guys are on the court, it's going to be a problem. You saw that with the Nuggets. Like, that wasn't a deep basketball team. It's just Jokic and Murray stayed healthy. They had the one guy coming off the bench was Bruce Brown, and they won. Like, that's the formula, is just get to the playoffs. And at this point in time, it doesn't matter if you have to win an extra game or two in the play-in. If you're talented enough, you can go on a run. And that's what the Lakers are banking on, is they can be a top 10 team. That's all you got to be in the Western Conference, and then rely on AD to take them to the promised land. 505-246-0610. That is the Sports Animal text line, the Sports Animal hotline this morning. Still trying to wrap our heads around the weekend. What do you want to see happen next? It's not as simple as, hey, you get to fill that void of being a power conference, but with all the moves that have been made, what do we make of the future of college athletics? We'll tell you next here on the Sports Animal.
The Jim Rome Show.
In the end,
pitch. There's a line drive right at the shortstop for out number 3.
Apodaca ripped to left field. That will bounce in, so it's going to be extra bases as they'll have to chase that one at the wall in the warning track. Flipped up, there's no play at home. So it's an RBI double for Andrew Apodaca. Runner at third. High leverage spot. Can Chavez keep the tie? No, that's going to be cracked into left field. It's a base hit as Love puts the Sandia Matadors ahead for the first time today.
The 0-2. Upstairs goes the backstop, and the run will not score. Gun down at home.
Chavez rocks and fires. Ahmed, that's going to be an RBI for Ahmed as that one right through the gap in right center. Petrie will scoop that one, and it's looking like a triple as Ahmed plugs into third base, and what a way to score that run for the Matadors.
Coach Romero barking out his orders there to his players. He's been around the game for a long time. Nice shot to center field. That'll bring runners in. Just like that, LaCueva will bring 3 runners in to go up 3-0. Runner advances to third. Shot to center. That looks good. That's gone. Man, outstanding center shot there. As LaCueva will score. Antonio Lucero, second baseman, quite the hitter. Shot to third, and good catch, and she gets the out. Outstanding play by Trinity Bazan. Nice bright spot.
Costly errors allowed Cleveland to get 1 run back. That one sent on the ground to the left side. Throw to first in time. Throw home. Got her. Whoa, what a play.
Next door or something. Not sure, but they came out here, and Ellison cracks an RBI out to left field. That's where you got to do it. 1 run, 2 run, and this game could very well be over. It's a play at the plate. It's sliding, and that will do it. The Rams walk off the LaCueva Bears. It's a 3-run batted in shot by Dean Ellison.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Messi thing is really becoming something. Leagues Cup action. So Messi and Miami, they were in Dallas. And could Messi do it on a hot, humid night against FC Dallas? He absolutely could. They were down in that game. Messi scored the first goal. He scored the game-tying goal. Inter Miami was down 4-2 to FC Dallas in the Leagues Cup. This competition in the middle of the MLS season that's going on. And then Inter Miami goes on to win in penalty kicks. And he is just that good. He is a different beast. And some of the FC Dallas players talked about it after the game, saying, like, yeah, Messi is that good, but it's going to take MLS players, playing that caliber, playing that type of game to get better. And this isn't just a dude that's on a retirement tour.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people just assume that, one of these big names came over to play Major League Soccer in the United States. It's at the end. It's a David Beckham.
Yeah, David Beckham, too.
Wayne Rooney. Mm-hmm. It's at the end. No, Messi could still be playing top flight soccer overseas. Mm-hmm. Like, he could still be playing for PSG, he could still be playing for Barcelona. Mm-hmm. Then why isn't he? Well, because there's a lot of contract things behind the scenes that didn't work out with his move back to Barcelona. So, buddy David Beckham cut a sweet deal, speaking of Apple TV, with the contract.
Yeah.
Making, $50-60 million a year, which is chump change compared to what Saudi wanted to pay him to go play in the Saudi league. But, man, this dude still got it. And he is absolutely mesmerizing MLS folks right now.
Yeah, he's just bringing a whole. Just the hype up around him, and it was a smart move on his part. I think again, just bringing him to MLS and getting that more popular in the U.S. and like with him, like you said, it's just like with the U.S. women's team. It's all right. Now you got to level up. Here he comes. Like Messi's coming in, and he's it's a whole other level now that you got to bring if you want to compete, and that's what we'd love to see.
He is Chris Perez, JJ Buck DC with you here on the Sports Animal, 505-246-0610. That's Sports Animal text line, Sports Animal hotline. So now that it happened, I've opined all morning long about my frustration. I'm worried that this is finally, the straw that's going to break the camel's back in regard to college athletics, because there's already been that gap, and we've been playing with that gap. We've adjusted to that gap, but when it starts to trickle in to the things that you love, and that's basketball. If it affects basketball, then it's really going to hurt this market. So we'll take a wait and see approach. So what does the future look like? Well, it's Big 12 now the best basketball conference in the nation. You add Arizona to a league that has Kansas. You look at what Baylor has been able to do. Texas Tech. Are they going to be the dominant force? Well, Oklahoma and Texas are going to be gone.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So Big 12 basketball-wise, it's Big 12, Big 10, and we're talking, 20 teams just from those two conferences could be in the NCAA tournament in the next couple of years?
Yeah, it's always been a tough battle with Big 12. So, with adding Arizona, that's only going to amplify that. And I'm looking forward to Arizona, Kansas. That would be that
works.
Yeah, that'd be a fun match. Yeah, I like that one.
It's not a crazy one.
Yeah.
But I think, Big 12 actually, how crazy is it for the Big 12? They go from losing Oklahoma and Texas to somehow winning in all of this, which is just
winning
wild.
The conference portal.
Like the Big 10, they're set, but the Big 12, everyone was kind of laughing. They're like, oh, you're getting UCF in Houston. Oh, BYU once was awesome. Their national following hasn't helped them, to all of a sudden, and now they're like, we got this. We're on lock. We're going to be pretty good. But then moving forward, too, the one you got to look at is Florida State. And they've been very upset over the last few years. And DC, this is where, when you talk about, I don't know, how would you put outside money, third-party money? Tell me that there's not people at Florida State wondering if they could be owned by the Saudis right now, just to get that money. Because they want out of that ACC deal, and they want to be playing with the big dogs.
You say that in jest, but there is a lot of truth to that. You got to wonder, where's the money coming from? How's it getting there, and how much? Especially when you see them talking so much about leaving ACC, you got to wonder, why are you still there? Why hasn't SEC stepped in, or Big 12 or someone? Because that's a good program, multiple sports. So you would think that's an asset to any conference. So, wow, what an interesting question. Like, the Saudi influence could
because they're already talking with JP Morgan. That was reported,
right?
That they're working with JP Morgan to try to raise funds so they can buy themselves out of their deal with the ACC, and the fact that the ACC is like a 13-year deal or 13 years they have left.
How much is the buyout
in their media rights deal? It's got to be astronomical to buy yourself out of 13 years at this point in time. But this is the stuff we're seeing happen in college athletics. Like Florida State's probably going to try to fight this, but then who knows the money that they're going to invest to try to get out. And that's the one thing is there one more sweeping move?
$300 million.
300. See, that's outrageous.
I can see why they have to raise some funds.
Yeah. But to not even be like, okay, let's just take a step back, see what happens. Like they're fighting it right now. Like they're like, how do we raise $300 million to get out of this? Not raise $300 million to put back to your athletic department,
build a new stadium,
and then continue to compete and say, all right, look, we just raised this money. You have a $50 million TV deal. Well, we just got $300 million. No, they just want to buy their way out. They just want to sue their way out of that ACC deal. And so what I'm wondering is what's the next sweeping wave? Because Florida State's going to make a lot of noise. Clemson is going to try to make a lot of noise. Miami, you see how much influence, because they were initially like the first NIL collective changing the game. Wasn't quite won them enough football games to this point in time. I think those teams are kind of holding out for one last sweeping move, one last dramatic shift in power. And is that even going to come? And so that's where a lot of my frustration was coming from this morning, because we've been here, done that. The haves and have-nots. We understand the game that we've been playing. And I use we because this is our market. You know, this is Division I athletics. When it comes to the Lobos, it comes to the Aggies and the Mountain West, now New Mexico State and Conference USA. But it just feels so much like now this is a time where they're not pretending anymore that they're all Division I universities. It's like, all right, you can be over there and you figure it out. And the consolidation of power for the first time really has me wondering from a fan standpoint, like, what are you excited for?
No. And I think, for us, it's like, it feels like we're just kind of in the middle of all of it. Because, it's like, okay, well, come join us, or we're just kind of seeing all this action going around. But yeah, as a fan, it's so much. It's like, okay, you see this getting out of hand, and you see it getting more out of hand with, again, just trying to please everybody, but then you definitely leave some people out or some sports out that it's just not going to make sense with the families, all that stuff. So yeah, I think as a fan, you want the best product out there, but it's not going to be if you have these student athletes on these crazy schedules.
Well, and I know this is one that got lost, and I was debating back and forth with someone on Twitter over the weekend. Like, who cares if Washington wants to send their athletes? They're making that decision. I'm like, well, it's easy to say when you're not the one on those planes. It's easy to say when you're not that basketball team, that softball team, that basketball or that baseball team that has to play that conference schedule.
Yeah,
it's not a one-off.
Yeah,
like it's challenging for football, but it's not hard. Like they're going to get on their charter jet.
Yeah,
they're going to bounce and they're going to come back. They don't have to go play 2-3 games in a span of a few days. They don't have to play back-to-back series on the road. And at some point, you do have to take that into consideration. I understand you need the money to fund all these other programs, but college athletics has absolutely lost its way. And that's why, with that money being so big, the Mountain West, they got a $4 to $5 million TV deal. And these schools are jumping for 50. And yet I'm still supposed to believe that this system is going to be one that gives schools that we follow, schools that we went to, a chance. I bit that carrot for so long, DC. I can't do it anymore.
I sit back here and I'm kind of on the outside looking in, but I'm wondering what the point of the conferences are outside of football and basketball. To be totally honest, like, why would a softball team from Washington even consider playing on the East Coast?
Right. And don't you think like the money's going to be there, the money's going to filter? At some point in time, you got to realize it ain't fair for everyone. Like, it's not. You're going to be playing schools that have more money than you, that might be investing more in NIL. You got to figure it out. But football, I think, needs to be governed differently than the rest.
Definitely.
Like, you can have your football super conferences, figure it out. But when it comes to the other sports, like, those regional matchups need to still happen. Like Pac-12 basketball, Mountain West basketball, all those other sports, like, that makes sense. And we got to stop pretending that it's too hard to do those things in this day and age. When we just saw, in a span of a week, presidents and ADs change the landscape of college athletics, don't tell me you couldn't figure that out, of football being governed differently than everything else. 505-246-0610. It is the Sports Animal Hotline and the Sports Animal text line. And when is a headline just a headline, or is it time to worry, even when we're talking about practice? Yes, practice. It's opening drive here on the Sports Animal.
Telling it like it is.
Quarterback in the NFL is an...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers. We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
But there's a lot of fan bases, look in the mirror, that are overestimating their value right now because reality was dished out on a major scale last week. And where you are right now is where you're going to be. There is not many more golden doors opening for these programs, so you got to figure out the best way to survive and advance. And right now for the Mountain West, it is maybe adding a couple members just so you can get your numbers up because size matters right now and carve out as strong of a deal as you can over the next few years. 505-246-0610. It is the Sports Animal Hotline, the Sports Animal text line. Got a lot of your correspondence to get to this morning. JJ Buck, DC, Chris Perez with you, but did want to touch on, a headline. Is it just that, or is it something to be worried about? And one of the teams that kind of has this average feel coming into the season, it is the Las Vegas Raiders. And Jimmy Garoppolo working his way back. He missed OTAs. He had the foot surgery. So this is really his first time working with this group. But Jimmy G threw a combined 7 interceptions in the last 2 training camp practices over the weekend. And head coach Josh McDaniels said, quote, "We've also seen some very good throws. It's a very competitive camp." He told that to The Athletic. Now, it is remembering that this is Jimmy G's first time on the field with these guys, did not miss OTAs. But isn't that just the classic Jimmy Garoppolo headline? This is why people just never can fully buy in to Jimmy G. Despite the wins with the 49ers, playing in a Super Bowl, it's always that one thing that just feels like, it's always just a little bit less.
Yeah,
Jimmy Garoppolo.
You look at McDaniel. I mean, at least he's thinking glass half full. Well, we see some very good throws too. But yeah, again, it's just one of those guys where you still see him in the middle of the pack, and you're hoping a change of scenery would do it. And but yeah, like to your point, with it's not necessarily a time to overreact. I think he again, like you said, getting team chemistry and working together with the new guys and new coordinators, all that stuff. But yeah, at the same time, if I'm a Raiders fan, I'm not, too hopeful. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, let's just see. Let's just see if this
it's
works.
It's hard, and I think for Jimmy Garoppolo, we always want to. I think people do want to give him credit.
Yeah,
winning games. He won playoff games on the road. He got to a Super Bowl. But then you see what the 49ers are able to do with insert quarterback X after Jimmy Garoppolo. And that definitely feels like it's more of a system. And the San Francisco is like, we're not paying up for a replaceable guy in Jimmy G. I think that's why when you look at the Las Vegas Raiders, I get it as Josh McDaniels. He has a relationship with Jimmy Garoppolo. It's just having Davante Adams enough. Like Josh Jacobs may be there, maybe not there. Like how do you I think when we're looking at the Raiders, they have some people like Max Crosby, top level defensive. Oh yeah, like that dude is a playmaker. Davante Adams, we know 1A. Outside of that, are we looking DC? I'm thinking like 5-6 wins. Like I don't see a lot of upside for the Raiders right now.
I don't either. I think that's very fair because you're right. Outside of Davante Adams, who are they throwing to? I think the familiarity between him and McDaniels probably has some value, just knowing his offense. But 6 wins. I think that's probably a fair number for them. Max Crosby's great. Their defense looks good, but losing Waller is a huge loss. And for a new quarterback to come in and try and make it work with just one guy on the edge, that's asking a lot. So I think it's really fair to say 6 wins. I have a tough time going through their schedule seeing any more than that myself.
And this is one, it's not just in your division. It's the rest of the AFC and these quarterback battles that we're going to see for the future with Trevor Lawrence emerging. Justin Herbert, by the way, is only 25 years old. Josh Allen, who I think everyone's down on just because he hasn't played in a Super Bowl yet, but that dude is still going to win a ton of games, put his team in position. Oh, yeah, Patrick Mahomes. In that division, and then you're looking at kind of the old guys that are on the back end in a Jimmy Garoppolo, in a Russell Wilson that are trying to reinvent themselves within a new system, and then this sense that's coming out of Cincinnati, which I find fascinating, is they had another player get paid and then say he's happy with what he got as long as everyone else gets there. This time it was Logan Wilson, former Wyoming linebacker. Shout out to the Pokes. He signed a 4-year contract extension worth $37 million with the Bengals over the weekend. He said, quote, "I still think that this contract allows them in Cincinnati to get those things done with guys, and hopefully we're able to keep them long-term as well." How in the world has Cincinnati pulled this off? We're seeing a league that has every single running back feeling like they're underpaid. Every contract has to be the next one. How in the world is Cincinnati getting all these guys? Now, Logan Wilson get $37 million on his contract, so that's pretty good. But that's a vibe where I'm buying into that. Like, these dudes know what it takes. They've been to a Super Bowl. They could have won that Super Bowl, so it's not like a terrible performance that they had. Like, these guys are on board, and you do not see that a lot with the NFL. Are you buying what Cincinnati's selling with these contracts and then getting Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase paid?
See, I think Cincinnati's doing it right. They realize you got to pay him now because it's only getting more expensive if you wait. So I love it. I think being proactive is the way you keep a Super Bowl type roster together. So good on them. That is the right thing to do.
I think the fact that they tasted it, all those young guys, and playing in that Super Bowl,
they won another one.
Yeah,
and seeing that, hey, we've been right there. Because when you talk about the AFC, really, the last couple of years, the two teams you gravitate to, it's Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Kansas City, and Cincinnati. And Cincinnati knows they can play with Kansas City.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because of anyone else in the NFL right now.
But you have to look at the Burrow injury. With Jamar Chase coming out and saying he doesn't even want him to play the first 5 games, that they're in a weird spot there. So it is good to get their line taken care of and some of those other guys that are going to protect the quarterback. Because
especially when it was a non-contact, and it was pointed out, like, I think it was TJ Hushmanzada who was actually on Colin Cowherd, former Bengals wide receiver. He's like, oh, by the way, did you notice that he had a sleeve on that calf that he pulled? So it was already something he was dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real scary thing for Cincinnati. The possibility of reoccurrence on that is very high, and knowing that he might have potentially had something before the non-contact, I'd be real nervous. I still obviously think Cincinnati is a great team and has a chance to make a run, but they definitely need to monitor that situation closely because that could derail a season really.
Yeah, that's the Cincinnati can still be a player in the postseason, but if he is out 4 to 5 games, that's the difference in the division.
Yeah, that's a big chunk.
Yeah,
that's when Baltimore, Cleveland, heck, even in Pittsburgh, because I think they play at least 2 or 3 of their division opponents in those first few weeks. So that's the difference in the division.
Yeah.
Bengals can still be a playoff team, can still be a problem, but it's you're gonna have to go a few games on the road early on.
Yeah, their schedule is interesting because I remember, I'm going to pull it up now, but it is tough from the beginning. So let me just pull this up here. They have Browns at home first, or on the road. I'm sorry. Without Burrow, that looks like a loss. They have Ravens at home after that. No Burrow, no win, if you ask me. Rams at home in the 3rd game. I could see that as a win either way. And on the road to the Titans in week 4. I mean, week 5 at the Cardinals, I could see that as winning.
They could be a 3-2 team potentially without.
They could be 2-3.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah, it could be a really tough start.
But it's the ones that worry me earlier are the division games.
Yeah, well, I mean, coming right out in the division with Browns Ravens, yeah, that's a scary start. And if you start out 0-2, then your season looks way different.
So at least everyone's on the same page when it comes to thinking about the future. But the now is, you might be playing an uphill battle early in the season, but that's probably the best thing. And I think Jamar Chase, everyone sees the big picture. Big picture is, all right, maybe you're behind in the division race a little bit, but they know that's the dude of anyone else in the NFL. If you say, hey, who do you need to go toe-to-toe? It's Joe Burrow. Yeah. Like to knock off that dude, Patrick Mahomes.
It's like you said, it's just tough with those being 2 division games. I mean, if you're 0-2, you're 0-2 in the division to start as well. So, but yeah, but what we just love to see. I think we love to see that Burrow Mahomes battle. I mean, they've seen each other so many times already in their young careers. It's just all right. Let's see who gets the better. He seems like Joe Burrow. He's a smooth guy. He's he's smooth trash talker too. So that makes for good TV for sure.
So what do we know and what are you saying as we digested the weekend of college athletics, the impact it has on your fandom as a Lobo fan, as an Aggie fan? Yeah, you have a conference, but what does it mean moving forward? Like, what does the playing field look like? Is there a carrot at the end? Is there still a light at the end of the tunnel? What do we know and what are you saying about college athletics? That's next here on The Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers. We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505.
They're trying one last long shot move, according to Jim Williams. He is a Washington-based media consultant. Said the Pac-4 is talking to the ACC about trying to join forces and take Stanford, Cal, Oregon State, Washington State to the Atlantic Coast Conference, because why would anyone need to have a Pacific Coast Conference when you can go from the Pacific to the Atlantic Coast Conference? Open a door for, quote, a better TV deal with ESPN. That's not going to bring in money. That's going to make Clemson and Florida State happy. That's a last-ditch effort. That's what the Pac-4 is going to try to do. They're going to do everything humanly possible instead of look at the Mountain West Conference to figure out what deal is better. But at this point in time, if Oregon and Washington can be in the Big Ten, Oregon State and Washington State can absolutely be in the ACC.
Yeah.
Even after it's all said and done, the one thing for a Mountain West fan, your conference is still here. Your conference is going to get rated. The Pac-12 is not going to take these teams because guess what? There's still an exit fee. And the Mountain West isn't going to let just San Diego State, Boise State, Fresno State, you name it, walk just to do it. So there still is something to hang your hat on. Now, the future of college athletics, I don't know what that looks like after this season in terms of the carrot, the light at the end of the tunnel. What are you still playing for? You know, Jared on the text line says, you know, he couldn't wait to listen all weekend after all that news. And then he asked, you know, do you think it's long before basketball schools put together their own league? I think that I would like to see football separate and the conferences get back to somewhat normal. And football is governed on its own thing, but I don't think that's ever going to happen at this point in time because it's gotten too far past that point because it's a consolidation of power as opposed to understanding, yeah, you can still get your football money, but let these other teams play in their leagues. It's the haves, the have-nots. So, no, I don't think we're going to see basketball conferences because I think that ship has sailed. I think there might have been a point. There was fair discussion across the board in college athletics of, hey, understanding that, yeah, some teams might make more money than other schools, but we're well past that point. Someone else was pointing out, Jay, one of our callers earlier, was talking about, you know, FCS D2 schools. You know, how are they feeling, or how are FCS schools feeling that are now FBS schools? Are they regretting that move? I don't think anyone that made the move to FBS football is regretting it because there's still going to be that trickle down of just enough money, just enough from the college football playoff, just enough from your TV deal that keeps you in. And that's why, you know, the Mountain West Conference is thinking that they're going to be okay because they're $5 million versus that $50 million. It's just that trickle down. It's just enough to keep you around. 505-246-0610. That is the Sports Animal Hotline. Also, the Sports Animal text line this morning. And Chris, one of the things you brought up, JJ Buck DC, Chris Perez, in it this morning, is just the student athlete gets forgotten in this. And I've been for the transfer portal. I think a one-time transfer is good because not everyone makes the right decision when they're 17 years old. That's just a place could just not work for you. A coach could get fired. Like, things can happen. I'm for that. I think name, image, and likeness can be good because a lot of these times, and you've been in those locker rooms, you've been around players. Like, yeah, you're an alum, but you're also, that's the most famous you're ever going to be, is if you're a star player those 4 years, not necessarily coming back 10 years later, you know, to wave at the crowd. I think those have been positives. But kind of what we've seen happen, it's done so much more damage than NIL or the transport ever could to college athletics, is this conference realignment for the TV money.
Yeah, and it's like I think we did leave out the families, and like what Jay talked about earlier today about the college experience. We're devaluing that a lot because it is a time. It's more than just the money. It's time to grow as a student athlete. Like for me, or not just grow as a student athlete, just grow as a person. Because for me, to have to move away from home, always still be around some family, and then understand the schedule. Because I mean, it's not like when you go to class. I mean, you know, usually in high school you're going to class from 8 to 3, but then in college you get to set up your own schedule. I mean, whether if you want to do online classes, whether you want to do just 2 classes a day, like you're thinking, oh, this could be easy, but no, it's a lot more. And then also the rigorous demands of being a college athlete too, the stuff that the things you gotta got to entail, and then also now you add NIL stuff with it. Make sure you got the right people around you helping you out with that. It is a time where people are growing up, and if you don't grow up, then you're trying to go. I've seen that around too, where they try to go play somewhere or go to school somewhere, and then they just come right back home because it was too much. And for me, I think studies have shown that people mature faster when they move out of state, or just move away from their city and say like, okay, let me just try to
you
start
want to
something
grow.
new.
But I think in college athletics too, what the experience is totally different. Like if, and I think that's the problem is they waited so long to adapt that they got to this point. If they adapted longer, if you got transfer portal to embrace it a little bit more, name, image, and likeness for the student athletes, you start branding these universities differently. Now they're at the mercy of just the television contracts.
Yeah.
And it's easy to be the dude that's on Twitter saying, oh, whatever, who cares? If they want to send their teams across the country, go for it. But that's not what these people signed up for. When you committed to play at a Pac-12 school, at that point in time, you didn't think, hey, I'm going to have to spend my entire season on the East Coast.
Right, because if your kid's going to USC and you live in that, Arizona. Going to the Arizona schools would be a nice drive. And that's not too bad. Even the flights to Colorado or Utah, that's not too bad either. But now you're thinking East Coast, man, you got to plan a whole, even if you're just trying to, watch your kid play, that's a whole trip. I know, Kendall's dad, my parents, they were always on the road, traveling, with us and want to see us play. And that was important for them, and it was important for us, especially our senior year, just to travel, because it's still your kid. I don't care. You're playing the pros. You're still cheering for them like they were in 3rd, 4th grade, and they seen their first basket or first touchdown. So,
and that's also goes back to the connection that fans have with the university. It's so different. Like you can be a diehard Broncos fan, Nuggets fan. It's your team, it's passion, it's what you root for. But there is a different connection when, like, that's the school I went to. Like, I was part of that. Like, it's tangible. And that's going to start to fade in this because we're losing that. Like, if you're a Lobo fan right now, after this season, you could convince yourself that I'm bowl eligible, maybe competing for a conference. But with this consolidation of power, honestly, what is there to be excited about if you're a football fan? Like, I'm finding it hard to even... I keep using that analogy, light at the end tunnel, the carrot, but it was there. It was like dangling.
Yeah.
It was like, win your conference. Maybe you can get to the college football playoff. I just see that door like slamming shut on everybody.
Where's the NCAA on all this?
They're powerless.
Exactly. What is their point anymore?
They lost so many court battles. They were scared to ever step up and say, hey, what do we want out of this? Money is a part of it. It's capitalism. It's America. You need money to fund sports. Need money to trickle down. I get it. But the NCAA got destroyed when it came to name, image, and likeness, got destroyed in all those court battles that they didn't even want to step up and say, hey, guys, what kind of model do we want to play with? How do we want to manage student athletes getting some of the pie, but this system not blowing up? And a lot of people, a lot of talking heads, a lot of nationally say the system's fine because they're stuck in that NFL bubble of it's only the power and nothing else matters. And that's not true in college athletics. It's going to alienate so many fans and so many student athletes. He is Chris Perez, as always, man. Appreciate you coming in and hanging out with us on the opening drive. We got Jim Rome coming up next, followed by Colin Cowherd. The boys 2 men on with you at 4 o'clock on this Monday. DC, fantastic work, as always, my man. Adrian, appreciate you on ProView as well. We are back tomorrow with award-winning radio at 7 a.m. Everybody, medal of peace and love. Have a great day.
Take a small step toward a...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.